Watch this.
Budget meetings. They aren't always the most exciting events happening at the State House, but this session, there seems to be a bit more interest in the streamlined process to fund state agencies. The leaders of JFAC explain why they believe it's all above board.
I'd say just for tires, about 46 to 50 cars.
How well your car handles winter weather? Well, that's where the rubber meets the road. Unless, of course, it's covered in snow, which is why having the proper tires helps, and why those who help you have them are working overtime. If you're registering your car in Idaho, you have the option to add a little personality to your license plate. A little personality, not a lot. Some people's boorish boundaries might not be the same as the DMV's, but that didn't stop them from trying. All right, buckle up. We're about to talk about budgets and the committee formed to talk about them. Not always the most stimulating subject to talk about on TV. They can be complicated, budgets. In this session, the Idaho lawmakers that formed the Joint Appropriations Committee made the process either more complicated or made it simpler, depending on which side of the political aisle you ask. The idea is to pass skeleton budgets. We talked about this yesterday, which is basically a maintenance budget to make sure the agency can operate at a basic level. The idea is to do that early in the session, then come back and add to it if necessary, with JFAC taking up line items and supplemental requests as the session goes on. But what if they don't? What if a skeleton budget is all that agency gets? Because as we learned yesterday, it takes 2/3 of the committee to reopen the discussion. Or does it? Joe Paris tries to make it make sense.
Idaho lawmakers and the state's budgeting committee are navigating fundamental changes to how their committee works. Changes were made back in the fall to try and create a more streamlined and transparent process.
I have a few concerns.
Democrat Senator Janie Ward-Engelking sits on the Joint Finance Appropriations Committee. She worries the strategy of passing maintenance budgets and then circling back to the additional line items is flawed.
It's too many, too quick. Now, if it had been the 23 that truly are just maintenance budgets and we don't have any line items or anything with them, that'd be great. But this was all our budgets.
Good to get out of here early, but we want to take the time we need.
Senator Rick Just is the other Democrat on JFAC from the Senate. He shares concerns that the process is moving too quickly, highlighting changes made on the fly with budgets just this week.
I still have no confidence that there's not any errors in there now. I'm sure there are. And yes, we can go back and fix those maybe.
Anytime there's change taking place, people get uncomfortable.
Senator Scott Crow and Representative Wendy Horman co-chair JFAC. They understand questions about the new process, but feel it will and is working.
Now we can really focus on the detail like we've never done before, where we get into those line items, the requests for replacement items, and people still have the ability to increase budgets or decrease budgets based on what was passed yesterday.
Chair Horman adds that through the new JFAC webpage, all budget items and presentations, everything you need, they're all there for everyone to see and study.
Budget requests from the agencies have been publicly posted on the Division of Financial Management's website since September 1st. And I know a lot of my people on the House, I can't speak for the Senate, have been digging into those requests. I personally have as well, to see what's there. Because after one session on JFAC, I learned that January was way too late to start looking into the budgets.
The term maintenance budget is also a topic of debate. Chair Groh explains what he sees with the idea.
Things that we already agreed on last year. So it's nothing new. So we just brought those forward. Those are the maintenance budgets. And the thing that we thought would allow our legislators to have more time is we get that out of the way. It's the same thing we did last year. Everybody agreed on it last year. And now we go back to the things where there might be differences of opinion. And so now we can really dig into where are the differences of opinion instead of hearkening back to what we already did last year.
Senator Ward-Engelking disagrees.
I don't think they're maintenance budgets. They're not what we had last year, which to me that would be a maintenance budget. And then it's kind of being said that we'll go back and look at the line items and replacement issues. But non-discretionary items weren't put in. There were some reappropriation bills that weren't put in.
There's also a debate on, well, debate. With the new process comes a new factor.
It takes a vote to reopen them. And if they get a unanimous consent and everybody says, yes, that's fine. But if someone objects, then we're to a 2/3 situation, and 4 or 5 people could kill it at that point, and they'd be stuck with just that budget, no line items.
We don't think that'll be an issue.
Why is that?
Because, just as I said, we've always done unanimous consent. We've always done it. Why would we change this year? I don't understand the concern.
So you can't remember a time where there's been, unanimous consent to open a budget and someone says, no, we're not going to do it.
No, we've always done that. We just open it up.
I think real obstacle for keeping politics and policy out of our budgets. Now we're going to have people saying, well, we're not going to open this budget. We don't have to because we've already passed a budget if we don't get blank, blank, blank.
Chairs Horman and Groh believe the JFAC session from earlier in the day today is a real proof of concept.
If we could have scripted it ourselves, I don't think we could have done a better job. But our agency heads spoke positively of the opportunity to have more interactive discussion. And so hopefully what happened today in JFAC assuages some of those fears of the unknown or the uncertain.
And another conversation that's going to be kind of piled into this whole JFAC conversation is that on changes in employee compensation. Brian, that is referred to as CEC, basically what is going to be the raise for the employees of the state of Idaho. And there's been some contention that the placeholder has been 1%. The CEC committee, though, they're going to report their findings this week to JFAC and say, here's our recommendation, 1%, 2%, 3%, whatever. So I know that there are some concerns from some lawmakers that 1% placeholder is in there.
Okay.
And they're worried that it won't get changed depending on what happens with the CEC stuff. So we'll keep an eye on that because we followed it closely last year, especially with law enforcement raises.
True. And so from what I understand, they had 4 budgets they reopened today, no problem is what they said.
Correct.
And they've never had an issue before, and they don't anticipate an issue with it going forward.
And it's one of those things where it's not an issue until it is an issue. So I guess we'll have to figure out if it becomes an issue or not.
All right. Thanks very much, Joe. All right. Well, have you seen the roads out there lately? At all? Probably. Recent snow has created some less than ideal driving conditions that you probably have experienced. The local agencies, they're just trying to keep up with it. This tweet from Ada County Highway District shows they were prepared to work overnight in anticipation of the snow that just keeps piling up. You see those snow plows, they had them lined up, ready to go and working. But the plows, the salt, the sand, well, that can only go so far. Some winter driving variables are completely within your control, like how you drive and what you drive. The experts suggest it starts with a good pair of tires. It sounds like an ad, I know, but it's a story about how, like the road crews, local tire shops are just trying to keep up too. Here's Andrew Bartline.
There can be plenty of problems anytime rubber meets road, or in this case, tires and ice. Big old problems require big O solutions.
Yeah.
For little O, Jessica.
I actually got stuck in my driveway, yeah, and when the snowstorm came, so that was one of the first signs. I'm like, okay, my wheels were just spinning out, my back wheels really needed, the tread was real low.
Which has her concerns running real high.
It's so important to me to be safe on the roads because I have a 9-year-old son, so he's in the car with me. I just need to make sure I have really good tires.
She came to the right place, along with plenty of others.
Just for tires, about 46 to 50 cars.
That's more than twice the number of tires Cuba dials up for customers on any given day. Nate Kennedy's his manager.
This snow is tough. We thought we anticipated for it, and we did for the most part, but it's slippery out there.
In here, they're rolling out the toolkit so you don't have to.
A lot of people don't have the time to look at their vehicle or have the knowledge specifically to know, hey, is my car safe? That's what we are here for.
Because on the shop floor, the old tires,
The things that we see here
are telling,
pretty crazy.
including a common conundrum.
Living in Idaho, some people will run their snow tires all season.
A fickle decision for the fleeting season, and who's got the time to pop the snowshoes on and off?
You don't have to get necessarily studded tires for the snow. You can get snow or all-terrain tires or all-weather tires.
Year-round answers for 4 seasons of problems.
Snow tires, they've got a lot bigger of a gap between their tread. An all-season tire, they're good for mud, snow, rain.
Sort of a jack of all trades.
Matching in the front.
It's a theme here, but you wouldn't know it by the namesake.
If you need your air pressure checked or alignment checked, we'll do it for free today, okay? That's the motto we have.
A full-service repair shop.
I've been on
Pushed
310s this week so far.
to its limit.
Yeah. Personally, I like it.
There's a certain reward that comes with seeing a finished product day after day,
Definitely.
even if it feels like the flow never stops and the shop never closes.
We were getting ready to close last night. Customer comes in, slipping and sliding. We had the tires in stock. These guys were more than happy to stay here. 7:45, close to 8, we finally got them done. We got that one more customer safely on the road.
And while she might be just one of 50 today,
especially in this weather.
fresh tires, keep you on track.
It makes a big difference, honestly, with having that traction in the snow. It's a huge, huge difference.
Admittedly anticipated a story about demand being so high the tire shops can't keep up with stock, whether that be specific brands or sizes. Not what we found. Bigo Tires is locally owned. They have 2 different locations. I actually met their owner when I was there. He was shuttling tires back and forth between State Street and Fairview. He says they have a larger warehouse in Salt Lake. We haven't heard that concern from other tire places either. So if you need snow tires or all-weather tires, it seems that they'll have them wherever you are looking to get them. There's not a shortage of them.
So it's not a supply thing right now, but it is like they're working overtime, literally, sometimes beyond their normal schedule.
Yeah, the worker we talked to, he said he worked 3 10s, and I'm like, that's got to be exhausting. He's like, no, I like it. I don't know if they told him to tell me that, but they were getting after it, man. They're working harder than I was, I'll tell you that.
I bet it's that sound. I love that. I mean, you can do that all day.
That's why I wanted to do it. I could get video of that. That's the fun part.
It's a great sound. All right, thanks, Andrew. All right, you got a new car? Need it registered in Idaho? Well, take a trip to the DMV and you'll be able to choose between 60 plus specialty plates to adorn your Audi, your Acura, your Alfa Romeo. What you can't choose, though, is any collection of letters or numbers that has any hint of profanity, narcotics, violence, intimate body parts, or what you might do with those intimate body parts. Yeah, this is kind of how it lays out. Here's the administrative rule that applies to plates. It can't, in any language, carry a sexual connotation, be obscene, racist, vulgar. They discern this acceptability with a dictionary, either the Webster's or the Harper and Row American Slang Version, and of course, they look at Urban Dictionary. Well, it's been a bit since we've done this bit, but we've recently gotten our hands on the list of license plates rejected by Idaho Transportation Department staff. And there were quite a few in 2023. But many of the plates people submitted, what they tried to slip past the censors, weren't as interesting as maybe why they wanted them or what they wanted someone to believe they mean. Every year, we see some of the same moonshots fail to survive re-entry at the DMV, whether it's adding a letter to another word or just submitting them backwards. Yeah, that's not going to work. There were some that seemed simple enough, but bodily fluids and other releases are a no-go. Riding your bike on your lunch hour? Not sure that's a nooner. And that's not what a Playboy is. Oh, you're itchy all the time? And you want a Boise State plate? Nice try. Some tried, but weren't too confident in it. Beach, please? Penny Mickey P Daddy? Question mark? The censors also couldn't get behind a reference to your rear on your rear end. Big Boo, no thank you, and I don't think that's Bible Belt. Of course, there were a lot of cracks at sneaking in curse words, like celebrating a large, fun family. This person just loves wagons. And have you ever wondered what sound an arrow makes as it flies toward an elk? Drug references? Yeah, those are always a popular pursuit. Dog's name and their birthday? Oh, you're a pharmacy tech. Plenty others tried to advertise their jobs too. Maybe you're a journeyman pipe fitter. Nope. Or your parents own a nut company. And Brandon sells pickles, does he? No way. And that's not how you spell that in Spanish. Think you can outsmart the DMV? Like golfing, but really need dollars, Nana. Basically a message to Granny to send money, not golf balls. Or, my ex was a rug dealer and now I drive an Audi. It's a joke between friends. I X'd a rug dealer, basically. Yeah, okay. But probably the best submissions were those written long form, like this guy, who wants to put a personalized plate on a race car. Sure, it's a funny play on words, especially for a race car you take to car shows, but do you really want to tell people you're racist? And finally, this guy, who wanted OnlyFan on his 2 plates because, well, I have stickers of the Boise Broncos on my Ford Bronco, and everyone mistakes me for Chris Carr, famous Boise State football player. They usually honk and yell, "Hey, Chris!" And my response is always, "I'm not Chris, LOL. I'm only a fan." This has happened in public so much with my wife, kids, and my friends that I've been nicknamed OnlyFan. Anyway, our whole family has our nicknames on our license plates. Okay. And those are just a few that found attention and found out. I've never spent so much time on Urban Dictionary as I've done today. Basically, if it had the letters F, U, C, or H, or 2 S's together, the number 6, the number 9, or any combination of those, there's a good chance your clever license plate idea was just kind of cast aside. But by all means, please keep trying, because at least it'll help us fill 3 minutes of television next year.
happen to get flu. It's likely to be less severe.
We've been talking about the chance of this happening this afternoon, and now we are getting reports of freezing rain around the Boise and Eagle area. You can see a lot of that moisture continuing to track to the east, but I want to point out a few areas where we could still see this freezing rain falling. So roughly from south of Emmett towards Mountain Home is the highest chance of where we're seeing this freezing rain right now. It will be really difficult to see because it's falling on top of snow potentially. So really take your time driving. When this happens, we get below freezing temperatures at the surface, which we can see from Mountain Home towards Boise, but as we go towards the east, temperatures are warmer. So we're not talking about as much of the freezing rain towards Twin Falls. Likely that is all falling as rain or a rain-snow mix. So what we're seeing is a deep warm layer now. A little bit of snow starts out, hits this warm layer, and then freezes once again at the surface. So that's what we're tracking right now. Please drive carefully. Thankfully, tomorrow we're talking about warmer temperatures and rain in our extended forecast.
As you can see by that 7-day, dry January, not so much. As you just heard, snow is going to continue to fall, at least in the mountains and sometimes in the valley, adding to the 1.5 feet we've collected at the Boise airport just in the last week. Already one of the snowiest Januaries on record. Reminds a lot of us of what we affectionately refer to as Snowmageddon. That'd be the winter of 2016 and 2017 when a total of 39.1 inches of snow fell in Boise. Add up what we got today, well, January 2024 is now in the top 10 for a monthly total. And already more snow this month than we got during the January of 2017. What most of us do remember is that. So you can see why a lot of people are drawing comparisons to that season. Winter conditions were so intense in 2017, the cities of Boise and Meridian, they declared states of emergency in order to get the National Guard to help clear the snow. Remember that? Well, if you don't, here's what we were looking at 7 years ago in a 208 snowpocalypse callback when some businesses' bottom line were just getting buried while others, well, they seized on the snow opportunity. A lot of snow.
We usually see better turnouts than we have the past couple weeks.
The Boise Brewing Company says winter is a slower time in general, but in the past several weeks, even fewer customers have come in for a beer. Local regulars are keeping the brewery afloat.
We haven't seen as huge of a hit as some other businesses.
Other businesses like Showcase Limousine. Operations manager Nathan Bennett says road conditions have halted limo services.
The issue is ground clearance, and I mean, obviously with these cars, there is no tow point on them. So once they're stuck, you're dead in the water. I mean, you're camping out. There's not a tow truck in the world that's going to safely get one of these cars out without damaging it.
Last winter, Bennett had to cancel 2 reservations because of icy and snowy streets. This year, he's called off 29.
I mean, I have 18 employees that depend on a paycheck, and I have to do everything I can to get them out on the road. If the tires on my cars, on my limos, don't move, I'm not getting a paycheck, they're not getting a paycheck, and frankly, it's the winter has devastated us. We're about at a third of where we're at volume-wise normally.
He's hoping the weather will change quickly.
Maybe looking at about another month and a half before it's just completely devastating where we're going to have to start selling off stuff.
On the other side of the coin, one woman is profiting from what many are describing this winter as Snowmageddon, making merchandise.
We've been doing Snowmageddon survivor shirts and a couple different ones. We have some onesies about results of Snowmageddon 2017.
Reed announced late Tuesday night she would be selling the clothes, and as of Wednesday morning, she's had 20 orders. Despite her earnings, Reed too hopes for warmer weather.
I've got 5 kids and they've been home for 6 days, and I'm ready for them to go back to school.
I mean, I have never seen Boise this bad. The road conditions are just, they're deplorable.
Well, we called Showcase Limousine today to see if they're seeing the same problems this season as they did in 2017. They've had to cancel 1 or 2 bookings, they told us, but thanks to the new owner who came in a couple years ago and bought a few more of those Hummer limos, the ones that sit up really high, they haven't had to cancel as many rides. There have been several Januaries with more than 20 inches of snow in Boise, by the way. We're still quite a ways from the snow total of 2016, 2017, and we're supposed to be warming up this week, so that's a good thing. But you know what? Winter, it ain't over yet. By the way, the most snow Boise has ever received, that'd be 50 inches back in 1916 and 1917. All right, let's get to your comments on this Wednesday. Chuck in Boise had this to say. Legislature has no problems with JFAC. Why did they change? I can see towards the end of the session, agencies will not be able to fulfill their missions. JFAC will not save time by repeating this process or dragging it out a little bit longer, says Chuck. I love that you covered the topics about studs and duds. Studs at the tire shop, duds at JFAC. That's from Susan in Meridian. That's pretty clever, Meridian, or Susan, thank you. Can we give a big thanks and well done to the crews from ACHD and of course all across the valley. We're so fortunate to have such good people working day and night to keep us safe in this difficult weather. That's from Teresa. And yeah, they've been pretty good, I would say. There might be a few complaints in some of your neighborhoods, but other than that, it looks like it's pretty good. We got this one sent in because I couldn't figure it out, but she said, how did this one slip by? I couldn't figure it out. Peyote. She got that one in. Pretty impressive. Can't get them all through, though. We'll see you tomorrow.